Hey, Sanford here, your mind-body connection coach. Now, normally you see me talking about physical health or mental health, but when it comes to your mental wealth, okay, and you guys all know when I'm talking about mental wealth, I'm talking about your mental, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual health. So normally you hear me talking about physical health, you'll see me moving, you hear me talking about mental health, but today I'm going to focus on emotional health. Now, emotional health is a little bit tricky, because it's similar to the mental health in that we don't see the scars, we don't see the injuries, but they're there. Okay, so if you think about a scar on your arm, if you injured your leg, you wouldn't, stick something into it to see how much deeper it goes. Okay, you would cover it up, you would bandage it, or you would go to the hospital to get it taken care of. But with our mental and our emotional health, we don't know how deep it goes. So we have to learn to practice our emotional health. Okay, or some people would call it emotional hygiene. Okay, so basically what I want to cover today is I want to talk about loneliness. I want to touch also on fear, and then I'm going to talk about rumination. Then I'm going to show you a few tips that I use personally and that I've shared with some of my clients to help to lessen the impacts of emotional injury or emotional unhealthiness, if I could use it as a word. So first, let's just quickly talk about loneliness. Loneliness is so prevalent in our world today, particularly, of course, we're going through the COVID process. But a lot of people were lonely before COVID. They were staying in their homes. They didn't want to interact with people. With deliveries nowadays, you can get everything delivered to your house. Groceries, Uber Eats, and of course, if you're in America, I don't know what they call it over there in the UK or Japan, but you know what I mean. You get stuff delivered to your house because you just feel safer in your home. You feel like you don't have to deal with any conflict or any interesting people, and we know there's a lot of interesting people out there in the world, okay? But loneliness can have just as much impact on our life as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, because it lowers our immune system. It helps. It keeps us more prone to heart disease, and statistics and studies have shown that it lessens your life by 14%. And that's a lot, particularly if you got a lot to do on this planet, which I think we all do. We're all here for a purpose. So you want to keep an eye on that loneliness. And for me, I remember when they were having that whole protest here, because I'm in Australia now, but when they were having that whole protest about Black Lives Matter, even though I went to a rally here and it was all happening in America, I was quite lonely in that process because no one here was talking to me about it. And I'm not blaming anyone, but what I'm saying is that I was lonely, even though I was surrounded by hundreds of people, even some of my close friends here. I was hoping that someone would call and say, look, Sanford, how are you going? What's going on for you? Is there anything we can do for you? But that never happened. And so the flip side of that is, if I knew I was feeling that way, how come I didn't call some of my friends? And I eventually did, but I was just so lonely, caught in my little bubble of feeling triggered, feeling hurt. That loneliness it was kind of safe to be, as a sort of an oxymoron, it was a kind of a safe place to be. But it can kill you, as I said, and it can keep you in that place where you lower your immune system and you think that that's the safest place to be. So let me move on to failure. Failure is a huge one because a lot of people are afraid to fail. Primarily because people tell them that they can't do something, or they're afraid of what people may say, or they're afraid that people may laugh at them. Okay? But failure is a huge process for learning. But a lot of us shut down. In our relationship, if we get a bad relationship, we shut down. We fell on a grade at school, we shut down. And we don't think we can do it, we don't think we're capable of it, because we may fail again. But failure has many lessons behind it. So it's important that we're able to find our way through failure and know that it's not the end of the world. If you take a baby, for instance, and I'm hoping a lot of you guys were babies at one time, so you're watching me so you understand what I'm saying. A baby will get up and try to walk, but they will fall. Or they will get up and they'll stand, they'll sit back down, or they'll scooch around on their butts for a little bit. You see babies do this. But do they give up on walking? No. They can fall, get back up. They'll fall, they'll cry. They fall, hit their head on the edge of that table. You guys don't know the edge of that table, that counter. You probably got little scars on your head like I do. But that doesn't stop them from walking. So they're able to get past that failure, and they understand that failure is a part of their process. Okay? They don't put it all in logistical forms and try to strategize it like we do as adults. We ruin ourselves because we overanalyze the process of what failure is, and that includes rejection in a relationship. Okay? If a relationship ends, I'm not here to say that it was good or bad, but what I'm saying is that it's over. How can I now learn something from that? How can I get people around me to help me grow stronger from that? And the last thing I want to talk about is rumination. Rumination simply means we just go over something over and over and over again, hoping that our little brains can figure out a better way to look at our past as if we can change it. We cannot change our past. I'm just going to say that one more time because I think maybe someone missed that. We can't change our past. And no matter how many times we go over it in our heads. You know, as a performer, I was a performing artist for many years. You know, I performed as a dancer, actor, stuntman for 25 years. I went to all kinds of auditions. You know, in New York, I went to auditions almost every other day. And almost every other day, they said, no, thank you, next. You're too tall, you're too black, you're too fat, you're too ugly. Well, they never said you're too ugly, but you know, you kind of, you take it on board sometimes that way when you're feeling that.